Hello friends, in today's session we'll try to solve one question, and in this question it is about structural break and the F test that we do generally for overall significance. Okay, so let's see the question. The question is about that there is a study in the Australian housing sector that housing sector in Australia that's expanded rapidly with high price and demand growth, and the growth rate of house prices have seemed to have escalated after the concessionary arrangements in the existing capital gain tax, which was introduced in 1999, and the first home buyers grant effected from July 2000. Okay, so basically there were two things that happened. That is capital gain tax. There is some relaxation happened in the capital gain tax introduced in 1999, and the first home buyers grant introduced in 2000. Okay, so working as an econometrician, you for the productivity commission you want to analyze the house price determinants. Okay, so what are the determinants of the house price over the period 1974 to 2008? Okay, so basically in this question we'll be having uh, three results. That is, for one will be before the reforms or this policy change, and after the policy, and then we're having a full sample of the entire data, that is 1974 to 2000. So one will be 1974 to 99, then another will be 2000 to 2008. Okay, I'll show you that, but let's focus on the question. So in this question, these are the variables that HP is the real house price, HQ is the dwelling approvals, G is government expenses for housing, Y is the real GDP, R is the interest rate, X is the nominal exchange rate, MC is material cost. Okay, and these are based on quarterly data, and the variables are in natural logs and seasonally adjusted wherever necessary. Okay. Your job is to interpret the coefficients of HQ and MC. So you know HQ is dwelling approvals and MC is material cost for these three regressions. Based on our estimates, we have to interpret whether monetary or fiscal policy, which was affecting the house prices in Australia. Then C, you have to infer about the overall significance of the estimated models. Okay, then we will go to test for the if there is any structural break between pre and post policy regimes, that means till 1974 to 1999 and 2000 to 2008. So this is the question. Now let's see the data. Okay, so this is the data. This top portion is the questions, and these are the data for period 1, that is 1974 to 9 quarter 1 1974 to quarter 4 1999. Okay, so this is basically 104 observations, and the next sub period is from 2000 quarter 1 to 2008 quarter 4. Then we're having data for we have run the regression for an entire period, that is 1974 quarter 1 to 2008 quarter 4. Okay, so the entire observation is 140, and after running this we are having these results. Okay, the regression results are here. Okay, I hope you can see this. Okay, so these are the results. Okay, if you are unable to see these results, just comment on this video and I will provide you this question. Okay, so this is the constant. This is the HQ coefficient, government expenditure coefficient, Y, R, X, and C. So these are the different coefficients. The only thing is that the period they have taken is different. Okay, these are two sub periods, and this is the for the entire period. Okay, let's solve the question. Okay, so what you are going to do is you are first going to put these values in whatever model they have given. Okay, so the variables are same, variables are remaining constant for each of these regressions, and you are just these values are changing, so we have used them. So this is the first one, first equation, that is from 1974 quarter 1 to 1994 quarter 4. So this is minus 3.1.89. This is the result that we got. Okay, we are just putting them using their signs. Wherever negative sign is, we are just using that. Where a positive sign coefficient, we are using that. Okay, so the first one. Then the next sub period, that is 2000 quarter 1 to 2008 quarter 4, that is 36 observations, and you are putting those values. This, remember, these values are actually coming from these results. Okay, these these uh, these these we're just putting them in equation format. Okay, so the entire period, for the entire period 1974 quarter 1 to 2008 quarter 4, so this is the equation 3. We have used all the regression results. Okay, coefficient values. Okay, next question, then we have got these values, got these three equations. Now we have to answer the question. The first one is that interpret the coefficients of HQ and NC for each of the three regressions. Okay, HQ and NC, material cost and housing approval. Correct. So that first of all, they are in natural log format. Okay, so the coefficients will be elasticities. Okay, the coefficients are the elasticities. We have to keep that in mind. So from the three estimated regression functions, it revealed that with 1% increase in the number of housing approval, there will be increase of 0.10%. In the sub period, that is increase of 0.15 or 1.16, and in the third equation, that is increase of 0.11% respectively. Okay, and then you have to look for the t statistics of these values, that the coefficient of the HQ are statistically significant at 5% level in equation 1 and 3 and at 10% in equation 2. So what they are suggesting is that we have to look for the t statistics of this HQ variable in the equations. So let's see the results actually. So here the t statistics of HQ, this one significant for the first period, HQ, this one t statistic, and that is 0.05, and HQ here, this is 0.02. Okay, so 1 and 3, it is significant because the probability is less than the significance level, that is 5%. But for 2, it has to be to 10%. If the significance level will be 10%, then equation 2, the t statistics will be statistically significant. Okay, similarly for NC, you are going to use these values, this, and this. Okay, first you are going to tell, okay, that if with 1% change in material cost, housing price rises by 0.08%, and that is significant at 10% level. This is by looking at the results, regression results, and 0.90% statistically insignificant in second period. Okay, sorry, third period, it is statistically insignificant, but first and second sub period. Okay, for the entire period, HP falls by 0.18% with 1% increase in NC. So this one, it falls. Okay, and the coefficient is significant at 1% level. Let's see what does that mean. So let's look at this NC. Okay, look at this t statistics and this one, if the significant level will be 5%, then this will be statistically insignificant, but if it is 10%, then it will be statistically significant. Similarly for here, the same case. Okay, and MC here, this is significant at 5% level also, but this is not significant in 5%. Okay, in fact this is more than our significance level, 5%, 10%. So we can say that this is 10 at 10%, this is significant, this is at 5%, this is significant, statistically significant. Okay, okay, then the next question is whether monetary policy or fiscal policy affected housing prices. So that means, what is the monetary policy variable here? The rate of interest. Okay, so R is the interest rate. So this one is the monetary policy, and for fiscal policy we'll be looking at G, the government expenses for housing. Okay, so these two will be looking at their significance, their statistical significance, and their effects. Okay, so let's see. So you can see from here, we're looking at interest rate, this one interest rate, and we're also looking at G. Okay, now, so you can see that if there is 1% increase in the interest rate, the HP declines by 0.08, significant at 5% level. At the first period, 0.36% in the second sub period, right? But for the whole period, higher interest rate appears to raise housing prices. But this how this effect is actually statistically insignificant. That is for the whole period. Okay, but what is happening to the fiscal policy? For that, you have to look the instrument of government expenditure at this. So what is the that is, with 1% increase in G, HP rises and falls by 0.01% of the first and second sub period. So you can see it here, 0.01, 0.01. So one is falling, one is rising, raising the prices, right? But coefficient of both cases of sub periods are statistically insignificant. Okay, because the t statistic and p values, and but for the entire period, that is 1% increase in G raises housing price significantly at 5% level by 0.04%. This 0.04%. So you can say that fiscal policy is in fact affecting it more than the monetary policy. Okay, now let's come to question number C. So in the question number C, what are they looking for? They're looking for the overall significance of the estimated model. So overall significance, in the last session, I think we did it. I don't remember exactly. I think we haven't done it. Okay, let's do it. So we are putting the model here, the PRF model, that is encompassing all the variables that you are using. Here, housing approval, government expenditure, GDP, rate of interest, XT, material cost, NC, XT, I forgot what that variable was. Just let me check it. X nominal exchange rate. Okay, sorry. So nominal exchange rate and material cost, and you are putting the hypothesis for the overall significance that all the betas, they will be equal to 0. That is your null hypothesis. But your alternative hypothesis will be at least one of them will be not equal to 0. Okay, and you will be using this formula, that is r square by k divided by 1 minus r square by n minus k minus 1. Okay, and that is k degrees of freedom in the numerator and n minus k minus 1 in the denominator. Okay, and you find it 22.5 for the first sub period, 127.78 for second sub period, third 201.548. Now you might be asking me, where is the r square? R square is already given in the result. Okay, so here the r square is here, they have already given it here, r square, r square. Okay, we're taking those r square values and using them here. We got these three values for three different equations for three different periods. So at 1% level of significance, you are finding the critical value of f, that is 6 degrees of freedom, 97 degrees of freedom, that is 2.96. For the second one, you are having, by the way, these 97 and 29, they are derived from the values and the number of observations for those periods. Okay, okay. Good. So our calculated f value is greater than the critical f value, that is 2.96 is the critical value. So we reject the null hypothesis. Okay, and we say that no, at least one of the betas is not equal to 0. That means they are actually significant. Okay. Okay, then the question D is about whether there is any structural break between pre and post policy regimes. So your pre-regime is 1974 to 99. Remember the changes came in 1990 to 2000 and 2008. Okay. So we are going to test it for the structural break. If you are going to test the structural break, then your null hypothesis will be that there is no structural break, and then your alternative hypothesis will be there is structural break. Okay, so you are having two unrestricted regressions for the two subperiods. That will be, remember, they are having the same variables here. Okay, same variables, no difference. Then the restricted one is actually for the entire sample is it's the way you are actually defining the restricted unrestricted. Okay, but remember these variables remaining the same. Okay, MC, X, R, Y, G, HQ, they have their usual meaning as they have given. And with no structural break, if you are going to test it, that means your alpha 0 must be equal to your gamma 0, alpha 1 must be equal to, so what are they actually, these two? There is no structural break, that means for the two subperiods, for these two subperiods, there these coefficients will be equal, so that there is no break. Okay, that's what you are putting into this null hypothesis. Okay, okay, and you got 7 restrictions. Got it? So when you got 7 restrictions and you run the regression, okay, the first equation, you get this one as your sum of squared errors or squared residuals with degrees of freedom 104 minus the restrictions, that is 7, so 97. Similarly for the second equation, this part, second equation, this part. Okay, so this part, and then this is the ultimate sum of squared. This is already given the entire period. This is the entire period. Okay, and this one is this one. Okay, got it? Now the test statistics is, we have used this formula already. Okay, we use this and we find out. The only difference is here, because there are two equations, two unrestricted equations, so you are using yn1 plus n2 minus 2k minus 2. Earlier we used n minus k minus 1, right? This is the number of restrictions, so you are using this one, and you found the value as 37.18. By putting all these values and solving them, you'll find it to be 37.2. And from the F table with 5% level of significance, you can find the value as F7 degrees of freedom in the numerator and 126 in the denominator. And 126 is actually this value. Okay, 126 is coming from this value. So this critical value 5% level for F is 2.09 approximately, but you can find the F calculated one that we found is 37.18 is greater than 2.09. So the null hypothesis that there is no structural break is rejected because we have found evidence against the null hypothesis. So you are going to reject the null hypothesis. Implies that the housing prices Australia is explained by number of independent variables that have gone changes or structural break between pre and post policy regimes. Okay, and what does that imply? That means that this model should be estimated and interpreted separately for two different periods. Okay, because there has been the structural proof. So instead of using one equation, the econometrician should use two equations because there is structural break, and it has been proved by the rejection of null hypothesis. Okay, so please subscribe and comment if you have any doubt. If you want the question in PDF format, please let me know in the comment. Thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow.